What's good? It's Wood. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are into the fight talk. The lightweights, 135 pounds. Yep, we're jumping right into one of the most exciting divisions in boxing today, where over the past year you had a dethroning of Vasyl Lomachenko, the longtime pound-for-pound top 3 at the hands of Teofimo Lopez, who just turned 22, super talented but largely unproven, major underdog. Guys, when Teo was first making real noise with those highlight reel knockouts and backflips versus lesser opposition, it felt unimaginable that in less than 2 years, he'd be winning a decision over Lomachenko, who'd already had Ramirez, Luke Campbell, Vasyl Lopez, Nicholas Walters, and Gary Russell Jr., among others, to his credits. I don't include future Hall of Famer Guillermo Rigondeaux among his best wins simply because these guys were at least 2 divisions apart, and Rigondeaux was pretty old. When this fight was first agreed upon, before COVID, they'd postponed it a couple times, it really seemed too soon for Teo, who just had his biggest win, claiming his first belt versus Richard Comey, who's pretty good, but is definitely, or was definitely, among the lesser belt holders in boxing. I'm still blown away that Teofimo Lopez is this good. And his most difficult win in the fight just prior to Comey is aging pretty damn well too, versus Nakatani. See, Teo struggled with Nakatani, who just stopped former Olympic medalist Felix Verdejo a couple weeks ago in one of the funnest fights to watch in 2020. So back at the time when Teofimo Lopez looked like he was underperforming and less impressive versus Nakatani, we were all looking at this like, man, Teo's really having a hard time in there. And who the hell's Nakatani? So even that win is making Teofimo Lopez look like the man of the year right now. He shook up the world, to quote young Cassius Clay, after upsetting then dominant champ Sonny Liston at 23 years old. Teofimo Lopez beating Lomachenko is a huge shakeup in the division, which makes his longtime nickname, The Takeover, that much more fitting and appropriate. And by decision too. Anyone who did think that Teofimo Lopez might win were thinking knockout. Because when you hit as hard as he does, there's always a chance that you could catch him with the right punch, even if you're losing the fight by a few rounds. Well, that ain't what happened here. Loma was spending the first several rounds losing and guessing and getting jabbed and backed up and jabbed hard to the body, looking confused and waiting, struggling to find his entry points. Nobody expected to see this fight play out like that. So now, Teofimo Lopez is doing what any new superstar is doing. Overnight, he's now the guy with the sunglasses, Mr. Talk to My Agent, right? Teo is feeling pretty big time right now. Not that he ever lacked confidence, he's always exuded confidence, even when he was virtually unknown. But now he's saying, he wants to jump up to 140 and unify the titles there versus the winner of the yet-to-be-scheduled but likely 4-belt unification showdown between Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez. That'd be pretty crazy if, say, Josh Taylor wins. Now, I'm not declaring this or predicting anything yet, though I think Taylor is the one with the greater than 50% chance of winning that. But if Taylor beats Ramirez, you'd have undisputed champ at 135, Teofimo Lopez, pulling up to 140-pound undisputed champ Josh Taylor like, I put all 4 of my lightweight belts on the line, you put all 4 of your 140-pound belts on the line. We can have a multi-divisional, undisputed champion of the world. That's some serious stuff. Now, personally, I don't care for multi-divisional belt defenses. We kind of saw one recently with Javonte Davis versus Leo Santa Cruz, but I can't pretend that this wouldn't be a tremendous event, especially if you could get a crowd. So there is that possibility with the new King of the Lightweights. But aside from that, Teofimo's really been peacocking and enjoying the moment, where just a few months ago, he was in a similar boat to Gervonta Davis and was only one Richard Comey fight more proven than Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, and Shakur Stevenson. Now, Stevenson's a couple divisions below, but I kind of lump him into this new school crop. But now, since Teo took that out of this world gamble and actually beat basically the final boss of the video game, he's really basking in calling some of the shots now and is showcasing the sudden distance or gap, the wedge between his accomplishments and popularity versus that of his former contemporaries, young contemporaries. And hey, he's earned the right. To the victor go the spoils. By the way, Devin Haney is ranked way too high by the otherwise super reputable Ring Magazine. I get that the dude has skills and somehow won a vacant WBC lightweight title, though it's the lesser of the WBC belt. So he's a lesser belt holder, which he won versus Zaire Abdullayev for the vacant title. So, I mean, not all belt holders are equal when it comes to, how you earn your belt. But I used to watch those early pro fights of Devin Haney's in Tijuana when he was like 16, 17 years old, fighting grown men, then uploading the footage to his Real Devin Haney TV YouTube channel. He was trained by Floyd Mayweather Sr. at the time. The kid's a stud, super well trained, well schooled. He recently looked good in his latest fight and biggest step up in competition versus Yuriorkis Gamboa, the 40-year-old former featherweight champ and Olympic gold medalist. Devin Haney won just about every round of that fight. It wasn't looked at as favorably because it came on the heels of the tremendous wins by Teofimo over Lomachenko and Gervonta Davis down at 140 versus Leo Santa Cruz, where he just decimated him with the uppercut to finish him. We never seen anything like that happen to Santa Cruz. So Devin Haney's dominant win versus Gamboa seemed a lot less exciting or captivating to the boxing public based on what was still very fresh in our mind. And Devin Haney's only 22 years old. He just turned 22. But you can't just launch someone up the divisional rankings based on a little name recognition alone, can you? Seriously, how is Devin Haney, for instance, ranked above Jorge Linares and Robert Easter? But I think he's got a bright future ahead, and his skill set is a little more sweet science and nuance than some of the guys who exploit the tremendous punching power. Devin Haney is going to be very difficult to win rounds against. And he does have some pop. He'll certainly get some guys out of there. But punch for punch, he's not bringing the same type of heat and danger as Teofimo Lopez and Javonte Davis. Or Ryan Garcia, just based on early evidence. And speaking of Ryan Garcia, who I also think is ranked way too high, his biggest win is against Francisco Fonseca. Sure, he knocked him out with a devastating hook in the first round, but still, how is Ryan Garcia ranked above someone as proven as Jorge Linares? Now, Garcia has a huge step-up opponent in Luke Campbell, who just fought a hard-fought decision loss versus Lomachenko. This might look like a peer-to-peer, evenly matched fight because of their rankings, but nah, the experience gap here is major. Luke Campbell is a former Olympic gold medalist and is still at or near his prime. He's also super motivated to make a statement here. I'm actually a little surprised that Ryan Garcia is being this daring at only 22 years old. I mean, the youngins are storming the gates, people. Teo ain't the only one out here taking chances early. It's moves like those that are kind of putting the pressure on that whole group of youngins to take on these elite level fighters at only 22, 23 years old. And I feel like it might end up steering some of these guys into some oncoming traffic. I mean, these used to be the ages where fighters are being groomed and are brought up against like 20 to 25 or 30 wins worth of lesser opponents, developing the experience, then chasing maybe a lesser title, then taking on the biggest of big shots once they're like 26, 28 years old. I'm leaning Campbell in that one, but that's a matter of craft and experience versus a potential physical outlier. I can't wait. Nor can I wait for what's next with Javonte Davis, the most interesting 135-pound development outside of maybe Teofimo Lopez. Now, Gervonta Tank Davis might have only one fight at 135, but his punching power has been so enormous at 130 that I think everyone just assumes that it'll also have a devastating effect at 135. He stopped Yuriorkis Gamboa in the 12th and final round of that 135 fight, same Gamboa that took the young Devin Haney the 12-round distance a couple months ago. Though I will say, Yuriorkis Gamboa, round for round, was more competitive with Davis than he was with Haney, although he eventually got stopped by Davis. He might not have won one round versus Haney. But Javonte Davis sounds like he's comfortable seeking opportunities at both 130 and 135 for the time being. At 135, I'd love to see him fight Teofimo Lopez, Lomachenko, Nakatani, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia. But like in all divisions in boxing, the promotional game, the business game, the networks involved are preventing some of the best fights from happening. Because at 135, Teofimo, Lomachenko, Nakatani, even Felix Verdejo, they are all with Bob Arum in Top Rank. They fight on ESPN. Some of the Al Haymon PBC fighters at lightweight include Gervonta Davis, Robert Easter, can't forget about him. He still only lost to prime Mikey Garcia in Mikey Garcia's best-ish weight class, lightweight 135. Although I do think Robert Easter's days at 135 are limited, if not finished. He's very tall for the division. PBC, Al Haymon's also got Javier Fortuna. Now Ryan Garcia is with Golden Boy and fights on DAZN. Devin Haney, Luke Campbell, Lee Selby are with Matchroom, that's Eddie Hearn, and also fight with or on DAZN. Jorge Linares, I believe, is on DAZN. So all of this exclusive, often in-house only promotional matchmaking is limiting us to about a third of the options of all of the tremendous fights that you could produce. Given this extremely talent-rich division, you've got the young and unproven like Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. You've got the young and very proven like Javonte Davis and Teofimo Lopez. And you've still got the legendary future Hall of Famer Vasyl Lomachenko, assuming he doesn't drop back down to 130. I've long thought that 135 lightweight was kind of Lomachenko hitting a ceiling in terms of his physicality and being able to do the same things with his opponents that he was able to do as dominantly at 130 and 126. But if he stays at 135, then he's still in the mix. But the 2021 possibilities really begin and end with, what's Teofimo Lopez going to do? He's the man now, and a lot of other people's plans are somewhat related or linked to how he moves and what he does with the belts. Does he fight Lomachenko again? Lopez will probably have to wait until late 2021 to jump to 140 because the Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez fight for the undisputed still has to happen first. There's also some talk of Teo first facing his IBF and WBO belt mandatory challenger, George Kambosos, who just won a close decision against Lee Selby. I thought Selby won the fight, but that's neither here nor there. The judges felt differently. But yeah, Lopez versus Kambosos is a possibility in the immediate future. That's Teo just taking care of belt holder business. A win there could potentially set Teo up for that 135 versus 140 undisputed showdown with the Taylor versus Ramirez winner. Unfortunately, I don't see Teofimo Lopez versus Gervonta Davis happening, even though that is the best fight you can make at 135 right now. Oh my God, can you imagine? But I don't see Al Haymon and Bob Arum coming together to get that one done, which is disappointing. I really hope that hell freezes over, pigs fly, and PBC and Top Rank prove me wrong here. It's unlikely. If I had to rank the three major platforms on their roster strength at lightweight, I'd say ESPN 1, DAZN 2, and PBC 3. But yeah, again, it'll be interesting to see who they match Lomachenko up with too. Like I said, I thought that he was hitting a ceiling at 135. He might return to 130 for the next phase of his career, though it's not official. The only fight currently scheduled among the 135-pound elite is Ryan Garcia versus Luke Campbell. Other fighters to watch in 2021 are Richard Comey, who hasn't fought since losing his title to Teofimo about a year ago now. Also, Emmanuel Tagué. It's spelled Tago, but he's from Ghana. I think it's pronounced Tagué. He's also worth keeping an eye on. So that's more or less the overall picture in one of the most talented divisions in boxing. You've also got Shakur Stevenson, who recently moved from 126 featherweight to 130 and will eventually fight at lightweight 135, but probably not anytime in 2021. If Ryan Garcia could get by Luke Campbell, which again, I think it's a big if, you can match him up with Devin Haney, as they're both on DAZN. Although we'll see if the promoters feel reluctant to pit prospect against prospect. I don't know exactly what you do with Javonte Davis, since the guys he should be fighting are mostly with other promotions, so that'll be tough. PBC is also pretty shallow at 130 and 140, the divisions above and below lightweight. So Davis's 2021 doesn't appear to be as promising as the ESPN and DAZN lightweights, at least for now. Maybe Javonte Davis versus Robert Easter, but they're kind of friends, so I don't know if that works. Chris Primetime Colbert from the Bronx, New York is a very promising PBC prospect down at 130, but I don't know if PBC wants to burn a hot prospect like Colbert versus Davis. But aside from Davis possibly being shut out of some of the biggest fights at lightweight, the ESPN and DAZN sides of the division seem to have some pretty exciting options for 2021. Or in the case of the new king of the lightweights, Teofimo Lopez, some attractive options at both 135 and 140. So that's the state of the lightweight division. But let me know your thoughts on 135. What fights do you want to see in 2021? And who are you picking between Ryan Garcia and Luke Campbell? And also, who do you think would win between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney? Who do you think would win between Teofimo Lopez and Gervonta Davis? Even though, like I said, I think that one is less likely to happen. But yeah, leave your comments in the comments. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are into the fight talk. I'm Woog. Happy New Year, and thanks for tuning in.